Hello and welcome to the Daily Comic and Collectible, episode 434. Now today, the collectible of the day is the Toybiz Toys, Marvel Comics, Marvel Action Hour, Fantastic Four series, Invisible Woman action figure. Caught in a bombardment of intense cosmic radiation while on an experimental spaceflight, Susan Storm found herself endowed with the power to become transparent at will, and the ability to form invisible force fields of incredible durability. Now as a member of the Fantastic Four, Sue battles to defend humanity as the elusive Invisible Woman. This 5-inch scale action figure of the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four is based directly from the comic series and from the series Marvel Action Hour. I have the visible version of this same figure as well. This vintage figure is not hand-painted and does not have the usual intricate detailing due to her being invisible. Susan is made completely out of see-through materials and comes with 7 points of articulation for posing, and the invisibility gimmick is great for displaying. She also comes with her own invisible force shield and includes a rolling platform. Figure can hold the shield as shown in this picture, and you can secure her to the platform for fast getaway invisible rolling action. Released in 1995 by Toybiz Toys. Now, the comic of the day is Fantastic Four, Volume 1, issue number 188, with a cover date of November 1977, with story by Len Wein, art by George Perez, and cover by George Perez. This issue is titled The Rampage of Reed Richards. We open with Ben, Johnny, Sue, and the Impossible Man facing their leader, Reed, whose body has been taken over by the Molecule Man. Bolts of energy crackle from the Molecule Man's wand as he addresses them from the platform of his psi amplifier. Their foolish loyalty, he sneers, prevents them from harming him, but nothing will prevent him from destroying them. Then he says he will use the psi amplifier to take permanent possession of Reed's body. However, the Molecule Man fails to reckon with his host's powerful mind, which suddenly communicates with him from within the wand, distracting him. Quickly, Ben destroys the psi amplifier by hurling a chunk of apparatus at it. Seeing his chance of returning to human form forever lost, the Molecule Man angrily imprisons them all in a cube of solid adamantium, the most powerful indestructible substance known, to hold them while he formulates his plans. After several minutes of pounding, the thing realizes that it's fruitless to try to batter his way out. Then, Johnny asks his sister to erect a fire-resistant force field around herself, Ben, and the Impossible Man. When she does, Johnny turns up his flame to nova intensity, superheating the air in the cube. The sudden increase in air pressure blows the entire cube into the ceiling and frees them. Although Johnny's teammates are shaken, the Impossible Man thinks the whole incident was great fun and wants to do it again. Sue asks Johnny to flame on and fly over the city and catch sight of the Molecule Man. But Johnny's power is exhausted. Suddenly the Watcher materializes in the room with them. Realizing that he appears only in times of great crisis, they try to persuade him to speak, but he remains mute. The teammates angrily leave their uninvited guests and go and search for the Molecule Man. Although he wants very much to help them, the Watcher refuses to break his oath anymore. Ben and Sue fly the airjet cycle out over the city. Moments later, while Johnny, his flame restored, soars alongside with the Impossible Man, who is shaped like a miniature jet plane. Halfway across the city, the Molecule Man, in Reed's body, stands in a busy street, fouling traffic, locked in a struggle with Reed's mind. He tries to force Reed to surrender by turning an entire skyscraper into a towering monster that threatens to destroy scores of people. Unfortunately, the four companions at first do not see this. So Sue radios the Baxter building and finds out from Agatha Harkness that the police have taken Claw into custody. The Watcher has disappeared, and Franklin is all right. Things are almost back to normal, says Agatha. Then Johnny sees the animated building several blocks away. Terror reigns as people flee from the walking structure, but no one has yet been killed. When the Watcher appears in the middle of the panicked crowd, he is scarcely noticed. If he were allowed to, he thinks he could halt the building with a single gesture, but instead, all he can do is stand and watch. Finally, Reed gives up, and the Molecule Man deanimates the building, leaving it stuck in the middle of the street, blocking traffic. Moments later, he returns the building to its original location. But then, the Invisible Girl, the Thing, the Human Torch, and the Impossible Man attack. The Molecule Man tries to use his wand against them, but Reed's mind blocks him from using his power directly against his teammates. So he instead transforms the air jet cycle into steel cables that wrap around Ben and Sue. The torch cannot reach them in time, but the Impossible Man changes into a spiral slide and lets Ben and Sue gently descend. The torch tries a frontal attack, but the Molecule Man, still inhibited by Reed, bursts a series of water mains below the street that Johnny has to dodge. When Sue gets off the Impossible Man slide, she bursts her bonds with a force field, and Ben likewise shatters his with his strength. When the Impossible Man pops back to normal, he decides to battle as well, not realizing that if he hurts the Molecule Man, that he will also be hurting Reed. Thus, when he changes his hand into a copy of Thor's hammer to strike the Molecule Man, in fun, Sue has to interpose a force field to deflect the blow. When Ben tells him to take his fun elsewhere, he becomes miffed. He knows how to take a hint, he says, and he will find somewhere else he can have a good time. Then he changes into a green and purple dirigible and floats away into the afternoon sky. Meanwhile, the torch flies over the Molecule Man's water barricade in the street. But before he and Ben can attack, the Molecule Man heaves up the street in front of them and tangles the torch in the asbestos lamppost. Sue rises over the street barrier on her force field and attacks, while Reed is taxed to the utmost, keeping the Molecule Man from destroying them. The Molecule Man discovers that he cannot affect Sue's force field because it has no true molecular structure. So he turns the air around her into a contracting sphere of steel. If she should drop her field, he gloats, the sphere will crush her to death, and if she doesn't, she will suffocate. Reed desperately tries to force the Molecule Man to free Sue, but before he can do anything, Ben smashes through the street barrier. Unfortunately, a large fragment strikes the Molecule Man in the back and staggers him, and Ben is horrified that he may have accidentally injured Reed. Johnny, still wrapped up in the lamppost, directs his flame blast at the sphere, in which Sue is trapped, and carefully melts the substance away. Ben tries to help Reed up, but he discovers to his dismay that the Molecule Man is now in complete control of Reed's body. The Molecule Man turns the air around him to phosphorus, which ignites in a brilliant flash, and when the three teammates regain their eyesight, he's perched on a platform high overhead. The blow that staggered him, he gloats, knocked Richards out, and Reed's body is totally his. There is now nothing to prevent him from turning them all into cosmic dust. As the Watcher watches, his expression ever so slightly betrays his concern. The Molecule Man attacks them with a beam of energy, but instead of turning them to dust, the energy feeds back on him. There, in a brief, intense struggle for control, and then the Molecule Man drops his wand down a smokestack. Instantly, Reed becomes himself again, while the Molecule Man's persona enters the wand and is lost. Reed starts to fall from the sky, but Johnny flames on and snatches him in midair, which dislocates Johnny's arm. The pain forces Johnny to drop him, but Ben catches him and saves his life. When the four teammates regroup, Reed explains that when the Molecule Man tried to transform them, the unstable molecules in their costumes caused the feedback that short-circuited him. Soon, they return to the Baxter Building, where they are joined by the still silent Watcher. Ben tells him that he's no longer welcome there, but Reed wants him to remain, to hear what he has to say. Effective immediately, says Reed, he is resigning from the Fantastic Four. Since he's lost his powers, he's become a pawn of two different villains. He continues, and he cannot continue to allow them to risk their lives for him. They will have to find a replacement, because he is now a man, just like any other. Then, Johnny, his arm in a sling, looks at his sister and declares that the team will surely need two replacements. She agrees, saying that she cannot desert her husband. Ben and Johnny futilely ask the Watcher why he didn't help. Then Johnny states that perhaps no one, not even the Watcher, could have done anything to prevent the Fantastic Four's breakup. As Ben and Johnny leave, the Watcher stands forlornly alone, sworn never to interfere in the affairs of others, no matter what the cost. This story is continued in Fantastic Four, issue number 189. Geek Fact: upset at being yelled at, the Impossible Man flees to Hollywood, where he's seen again in Fantastic Four, issue number 193, from April of 1978, on the set of Imperial Studios. Bonus Geek Fact: the Molecule Man's walking skyscraper also appeared in the Hostess Fruit Pies advertisement that features the Thing. I even covered it in an earlier episode. The Hostess ad was also drawn by George Perez, with Joe Sinnott. Another bonus geek fact: the wand containing the Molecule Man's mind is not destroyed in the smokestack it falls into at the end of the story. Instead, it gets dumped into a landfill in upstate New York, along with all the ash removed from the smokestack. There, it's found by a homeless man that the Molecule Man takes possession of, and then battles Biotron of the Micronauts in Micronauts, issue number 28, with a cover date of April 1981. Geek Fact Firsts: Invisible Girl uses her force field as a means of conveyance for the first time this issue, like Iceman's ice slides, which is why I chose this collectible of the day, with the invisible rolling platform. Advertising ad fact:
Listen up, gang. If you dig dynamite or go bonkers over bananas, here's real knockout news about another great kids mag, Pizzazz. Out of the unmitigated goodness of our happy little hearts, we've created a brand new magazine in the same fun-loving style, but done in the mind-blowing Marvel manner. A powerhouse of phantasmagoric features. Ouch. Which could only be called Pizzazz.
Posters, puzzles, sports, and stories, and everything.
I bet the first issue's gonna go fast.
Let me see. Hey, Stan says it's full of fun. Wow, get off my foot. Hulk been waiting a long time for this.
Check it out. Pizzazz packs every issue with crazy caricatures of today's stars, panicky parodies of TV shows and commercials, plus comical cartoons and satirical strips, reviews and previews, opinions you can trust. Get a front row seat to your kind of sports with illustrated features on skateboarding, baseball, football, basketball, horse shows. Be amazed with the fun and game section of puzzles, codes, and mazes. Dr. Doom's crack-ups. Your friends will too when they read off the newest pizzazz puns and riddles. Scare your buttons off with tales of the supernatural and fables for our time. Look into the future, yours, and see what glorious and ghoulish fates await. Enter your dreams in the dream dimension and see them illustrated by top Marvel fantasy artists. So, gang, whatever it is you like to laugh about, think about, dream about, we write about. Be amazed and amused. Stimulate and entertain you with a dazzling array of today's top writers, illustrators, and comic artists. You just gotta see it to believe it. Just check the box. Yes, Stan, yes. I want to subscribe to Pizzazz. Send me issue number 1, a collector's item for sure. And send me a subscription for a year. That's all you gotta do. Get Pizzazz today.
And final geek fact. Owen Reese was a timid child from Brooklyn, New York, who obsessively clung to his mother. He grew into a weak-willed adult, made bitter and lonely by his mother's death, and full of fear and hatred of what he regarded as a deeply unfriendly world. Reese became a lowly laboratory technician working at a nuclear power plant owned by the Acme Atomics Corporation. He was disgruntled by his job's long hours and low pay. One day, Reese accidentally activated an experimental particle generator, which bombarded him with an unknown form of radiation, later revealed to be energy from a dimension containing the Beyonder. The radiation had a mutagenic effect on Reese, releasing his potential for psionic powers on a cosmic scale. Reese could now control all matter, even down to the molecular level, and all energy. The radiation also left markings resembling lightning bolts across Reese's face. Reese named himself the Molecule Man, after his power to control molecules. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me for another Daily Comic and Collectible, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. This is Cat Fan Comics Man, and I'll catch you on the flip. Over and out.